like a men's conversation of like y'all doing shit.
All right,
you always want to be putting it on women.
Let me get this going so that way we can.
I want to.
The timing problem. Just because you have a question doesn't mean it's the right time to ask. The defensive man. Men often hear complaints when women think they're communicating concerns. The loaded question. Some questions aren't questions. They're accusations disguised as questions. Listening to respond. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to prepare their next argument. Curiosity versus combat. Healthy couples ask questions to learn. Unhealthy couples ask questions to win. We are here with part 2 of do people know how to listen to ask questions in a relationship? Welcome to the Men Don't Know podcast.
Speaking of Victoria's Secret,
you like that, right? You see how I do that?
Will I
right?
be able to see your Victoria's Secret later on
I
today?
can roll my eyes.
I mean, how did she kind of throwing it at me? It's like, because I'm not gonna be that guy.
Why don't you call the girlfriend?
Oh, because the first thing they say is like, "Oh, you've always been too good for him. He ain't shit. He's a piece of shit. He's this."
Oh, you know it, guys.
Absolutely. I mean, I've actually gotten out on a hike with somebody and been like, "Wow, you don't do this. You're really out of shape."
First and foremost, welcome to the Men Don't Know podcast. I'm a man of many friends, your host and creator, Chris Bill. And here on the podcast, we talk with a bunch of guys. We ask a bunch of women questions over wine and cocktails. Whether you're listening to it on Google Play, Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Pandora, YouTube, we downloaded that Men Don't Know podcast app. I can't thank y'all enough. Merch store is open as always. Hit me up on Instagram at Men Don't Know, Twitter at Men Don't Know 1. Shoot me an email, Chris at mendontknow.com, or hop on the mendontknow.com website. Shoot me a message. Jess, we are back with part 2, and I will start it off so that way we can give women some leeway and flip the script. Do men know how to listen without becoming defensive?
Yes.
Ooh. Some men, not all. I feel like
Some men.
I will I'm gonna cape for the ladies today. I think, to be honest with you, I think some men only listen to response. They don't listen to how she's feeling and what she's saying. They're only listening to what she's saying, not understanding the feeling that's behind it. Hey, can you say yes? God damn. I know you agree with me.
I think some men definitely are listening because they're preparing their argument. Yeah. I don't think that they're worrying about the feeling or the reasons why. And I think that's also why some couples continue to argue about the same thing over and over again.
Do you think men hear criticism a lot more? Like, I think innately we are automatically on the defense when questions are asked.
I think it plays parts on both sides, because I say that where as women, sometimes we'll say things to men and not realize that it sounds like we're critiquing or criticizing, because if we were talking to another woman, the woman wouldn't be focusing on that portion of what we're trying to say and taking it personal, whereas a man does. So I feel like sometimes you have to think about how you're going to say it, as opposed to just bulldozing like the guy with information.
True. I like that. Let me ask you this, and this is a good question because I feel like a lot of men want to know this. What question do women wish men would answer honestly?
What's wrong?
Ooh. Do you know how weighted that question?
What's wrong?
Yeah, you know what?
It's like a constant question.
100%.
I feel.
I think that
we
question
ask all the time.
Yeah, 100%. I think every. No, because I'm trying to think of how to answer this, because this is the thing. In a great relationship, in a good relationship, in a relationship a man wants to be in, and you become that man's peace, if the only thing he looks forward to is coming home to you, he does not want to ruin that with what he has on his shoulders.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
But we've come to a place where I've had to explain things in depth from a woman's perspective, and my husband's had to explain it from a man's perspective, and this is where we've come to. If I'm asking you genuinely, like, oh, you see, like, I know the ins and outs of everything about you.
Yeah.
So when you come home and I can tell you're just a little bit off, I'm going to ask, hey, what's wrong? Me asking what's wrong, you're not burdening me with your answer. And like I've told and explained to him, that you saying nothing's actually wrong. I just have all these things on my mind because I have this going on with work and I have to do this and blah, 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 blah. So I'm honestly just kind of over-process everything in my head. Even though that's not something that is actually wrong, you can say that to me and I can understand that because, oh, okay, you're processing. I get the same way. Sometimes I get quiet. Yeah. It's not because I'm mad. It's just because I have a lot of things I'm thinking about. But when a man automatically says, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. What do you mean? I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. That's irritating because we would be totally okay with you just telling us X, Y, and Z, but I'm good. Okay, no worries. Like now I know that there's nothing else that's wrong that's between us or nothing I can fix.
Let me ask you this. Do you think starting when someone asks what's wrong or I know you had a frustrating day. Like, do you think what should come out, the answer to that question, like, look, I'm going to tell you, but I just want to vent. I don't want a response. I just want you to listen, not to reply. Do you think those should be said, like, so that person knows, like, okay, I'm just going to be listening. But at the same time, do you think either party, because it's both sides, either party, what if you're not comfortable telling the other person because you know they may in turn use that as tactics?
And that's probably not somebody you should be with.
You didn't even let me finish my
Doesn't matter. If you're with anybody that you feel like you have to curtail something you're doing or saying because they're going to use it, some type of tactical attack emotionally against you later or blackmail or, well, that one time, then what are we doing? You are too old to be dealing with that and going through that. That's toxic.
Ooh, what question do men wish women would stop asking?
What's wrong?
You know what? I think, I don't want to say it's what's wrong.
I think you guys hate the we need to talk later.
I think, we 100% hate we need to talk, but I think it's the idea of, hey, can we sit down and have a conversation over a glass of wine? I just want us to vent to each other. Like, I guess, you know what it is? I don't think people are comfortable enough in their relationship to trust the other person.
Maybe.
Like, I should be able to tell you something, and even if, say, Ted in accounting, I hate him, drive me crazy, I'm talking all this shit on him, but we go to the company party, and you see me, Ted, and I code switch, Ted, buddy!
Well, yeah, you're at work. Act accordingly.
Right. Now, I guess he might be in fear of you wouldn't know how to act like, you know. I don't know, but I guess that's what it is, yeah. I think
the problem is, respectfully, I'm going to say this to you.
I like that.
I think a lot of people who have opinions on how relationships should work or what they see it should be this way or that way with a girl.
Yeah.
Respectfully disrespectful. I don't feel like not even half of those people have been in a real relationship long enough to be able to sit here and say anything to anybody else.
No. I think, and this is what I tell everybody, I said, Doug, your relationship is not their relationship. Their relationship will never be your relationship because you guys have history. History negates anything anybody else is talking about because they don't have the same history that y'all two have. So you should only, I always tell people, listen to the people that have been in it 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You talk to someone that's been married 40 years, they will tell you it's not all sunshine.
It's not. It's never always.
You can't be winning 100%. I don't care what
it's never always. But I feel like once you've been with somebody long enough, you kind of work out the kinks.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand is all those early on conversations, the uncomfortable stuff, the stuff you argue about, the bitterness, the feeling this person did that person did that. I feel like we went through all the trenches. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to come back here, unfortunately, and look and tell you, if you're with a girl who's saying this and that to you and you don't feel comfortable having those conversations, then get out now.
Yeah.
Because if you're not trying to go through that, then that's not your person. Like, the person that you're going to eventually end up with is going to be cool with having all those conversations.
100%.
They're not always easy, but you have to have them.
You know what was funny? And I always tell people, I said, I have the conversation early. And I even tell them, I was like, nah, you got to talk to my homegirls first, because of the fact that, well, then you can usually tell if it's going to work out or not. Like, I work a lot. Never home. Like, I literally work. But we get to do all the fly shit you like to do, because I like to do it too.
But I feel like you also make time for the people that you are dating.
Yeah, but even in them, they still complain that I work too much.
Because they're not your person.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I always tell people, I said that, like, I could tell you, I could date anybody, but I immediately, when I know, I'm like, hey, it's not going to work out. Let's just be cool. And maybe it's the Libra in me, how I can just,
I mean, not to be negative Nancy, but anytime any of you guys are dating somebody, if you asked your sister or me, I could tell you.
It's not going to work.
Right then.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
What are we doing?
She don't have the patience.
Oh, that's July? Okay. What's up, Miss July? That's about it.
Oh, my gosh. Let me ask you this. If you're and this is another good one. I don't think people can handle the truth anymore. And I don't think people can handle the truth.
I'll tell you this. Nobody else is going to say the most honest, off the wall thing to me other than my other half.
True.
To the point where I'm like, okay. And I'm not trying to like throw hands or nothing.
No, yeah, 100%.
But again, that's worked. We've worked to that.
Yeah.
He can tell me, you're being crazy right now. Like, what's wrong with you? Or you're being overly emotional or whatever. And I'm not going to be like flipping out.
Yeah.
Where if someone else like, oh, you want to talk about things? Okay, let's talk about things.
Wow. Let me ask you this, and I honestly say this 100%. Is communication the biggest issue in relationships?
Next to finances, yeah. I feel like kids, finances, communication, those are the things that people are going to argue about.
I mean.
And not just like kids in general, like even having kids. Like, it plays a huge role, and I feel like a lot of people just aren't honest about those things before they get married, and they should be. Yeah.
What do they say? That and expectations in a relationship. For me, I feel like expectations are the breeding ground for disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, why would you expect someone to read your mind?
I feel like as women, we kind of suck in that sense because we like picture things of how we expect them to be done as if we were the ones doing it and not realizing that men are completely different creatures and they don't think the same way.
You know, that's one thing I had to learn. I got to be okay with how anybody else does something.
Mm-hmm. I learned that with friendship. And and Will was the one who taught me that because I used to get my feelings hurt because I would treat like certain friends a certain way and then they wouldn't treat me back the same way. And he'd be like, your biggest problem is you have expectations of people to act the way you do and they're not going to. So you're always going to be let down. And I feel like it's the same thing in relationships. If you're with somebody who maybe like your thing is bringing me coffee every morning and to you that's like, you know, I think about my girl, like I'm going to get her coffee every morning before we start our day. And to me, it's well, you're not spending time with me. Like, you just bring me this little coffee in the morning and then that's it. So, like, we're completely missing each other.
Yeah. All right. Last question. We'll get out of here. Why do people ask questions and want to argue the answer?
We just want to know if you think you're right.
Let me ask you. I hate going back to this right and wrong situation. How many times do you think a man is right in conversations with a woman?
Maybe like 50%, maybe 40.
40.
I mean, I don't think they're. Listen, let's be honest. How many times do you and I talk about stuff and you're like, God dang it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Do you know how many times I hear that from you and Will? That would lead me to believe that I'm usually right.
I'm not
Y'all
saying
don't
no.
like to admit it, but I am. It sucks to be right. Sometimes, trust me, I wish I wasn't.
Look,
Am I lying? Am I lying? How many times do I tell you you're right, but how many times do you tell me I'm right?
You know, that's a conversation for another episode. I think that's what that is. I'm just saying that's a conversation for another episode.
Hey, when you know, you know.
Because at the end of the day, communication isn't just about talking. It's about timing. It's about tone. It's about intent. And sometimes the difference between a great conversation and a huge argument is one simple thing. Whether you understand how you're asking the question, or are you asking just to prove a point? Because the healthiest relationship aren't built on perfect answers. They're built on people willing to ask better questions. Like they say, the strongest couple don't have the fewer problems. They just know how to have a better conversation.
Maybe.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for listening. Where you listen to it on Google Play, Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Pandora, YouTube Audio, where you downloaded that Men Don't Know podcast app. I can't thank y'all enough. Merch store is open as always. Hit me up on Instagram at Men Don't Know, Twitter at Men Don't Know 1. Shoot me an email, Chris at mendontknow.com, or hop on the mendontknow.com website and shoot me a message. Jess, let's get out of here.
So speaking of Victoria's Secret, will I be able to see your